Hi and welcome back to photographycourse.net YouTube channel. In this video we're going to take a look at blending two or more photos in Photoshop. Now with Photoshop, as anything, there is many ways to blend images, so I'm just going to go through this way that I know and have used frequently to blend a couple of images to get them looking natural as possible. But it's up to you what style you like. The sky is the limit, but hopefully this tutorial will give you some good foundation to work from. So first of all, you want to choose your two images, and today I'm using a picture of a rice field and then another one of a young woman with a orange parasol. So we start by creating two layers on a single canvas in Photoshop and then selecting the part of that top image that I don't want to keep, which is the background. And then I'll adjust my canvas size to make it a bit longer, a bit wider, so that I can just bring that background out and make it a better shape. So I'm just going to click and drag that and then bring my top layer back a little bit. So now I've got a bit more pleasing composition between my foreground layer and my background layer. So next we're going to come and create a black and white adjustment layer, and this is to help us balance the luminance. So name it luminance, delete the layer mask from it, and then we're going to balance the luminance layer. So to do that, we'll create a curves layer and press the Alt key or the Option key on the Mac, and as you drag from the bottom left side where the darker colours are, it will reveal to you, as long as you're holding down the Alt or the Option key, it'll reveal to you those darkest areas of your foreground and of the background layers. So that's under the parasol there in that area, and then over in the foliage there. And now Alt or Option click and then drag from the slider on the right hand side, which is your light colours, and this will reveal where the brightest parts of the image is on the top layer and the bottom layer. So you can see it's in her blouse, on the shoulder and in the sky. So now you know where those two are. So now we know where the darkest and the brightest parts of both images are. We're going to choose the eyedropper tool, select the top image and go to take a sample from your shoulder and have a look at the value there. It's 94. And then from the brightest area in the background and check it, and it is 85. So we want to bring that luminance value up a little. So I can open the curves and just drag that white point back and check it again with the eyedropper, and it's now at 98. So that's pretty close to the same value as what the highlight on the foreground layer is. So we're not adjusting the blacks or the darkest points in these two photos because they were similar enough that we didn't have to worry about them. But if you've got an image where one is significantly darker or brighter in the dark areas than the other, then you have to adjust that. So now your luminosity levels are balanced. We're going to have a look at the saturation on both these layers. So go to the adjustment layers and open a new hue and saturation adjustment, and then clip it to the layer below. And in this video I'm just working manually looking at it, because I can see where I'm happy with that, just adjusting the top layer, looking at her parasol and her skin tones. In the article on our website there's more detailed information about how to add another layer, so you can see what's happening with those adjustments if you're not sure. Now I'm going to open a selective colour adjustment layer, make sure it's clicked onto absolute there, and then clip it to the layer that you want to work on. I'm working on the bottom layer because I want to adjust the colours in the bottom layer, not the top layer. I don't want to affect her skin tone colour, so I'm going to just work on the blacks and the mid-tones and the whites and use the sliders to warm that layer up a little bit because it's quite cold. It was quite blue and her face is picking up a reflection of the light from coming through the umbrella, so the whole image on the top layer is quite warm. So I want to warm up the color temperature of that bottom layer. So it's just a matter of going through the whites, the neutrals and the blacks, so that's your highlights, your midtones and your shadows, and then working with the color sliders to figure out where the best look is for that background to match it as well as possible. So just looking at the light on the rice and the light in the sky and just trying to warm that up a little bit. And again, this step in the article that I've written on our website goes into more detail about how you can include some other adjustment layers to help you see this if you're not sure of what's happening there. So you can just play the sliders backwards and forwards until you're comfortable with what's happening. And like I said, you can do this on either of the two layers. You can turn it on and off again to see the difference. And then once you're happy with that, just close that. And we're just about done. There's just one more thing I want to do here because the background is too sharp. So I'm just going to add a blur to it. You can see her parasol is out of focus, her face is sharp, and the background was also sharp, so it doesn't look natural. So I'm just going to bring some blur into the background, and again just doing this by eye so it looks sort of as out of focus as naturally would for that level of depth of field. And I'll just drag that bottom layer across so that that edge is hidden. And there you have our finished image.